It's time for the Take a Seat podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Howell. Please take a seat. Hello, everybody. It's Kevin again with the Take a Seat podcast. Great to have you guys with us. And this morning, we've got an exciting entrepreneur again, a guy that's built a technology company. I've known him for a while now. And without further ado, let's invite Garry Cahay onto the show. Garry, welcome.
Hey, Kev, how you doing, man?
Good. It was a bit of a struggle to get you in there, but we've got you now, and I hope you've closed your door, locked your door, got rid of all the employees and all the rush around you. And that's difficult as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But I think, that's always the nice thing about being able to work anywhere, giving us that flexibility using technology to do what we do. So, yeah, you're right. I've kind of hibernated myself here in my office at the house. So I think we'll be okay for today. I don't think it'll be anything too serious,
Lovely. Garry, thanks so much for the time. I know it's for an entrepreneur to take an hour out of your day to do something like this is not natural, but thanks for spending the time with us. Garry,
well, so what say
again?
Sorry, you know what they say? Every hour is money hour.
Money.
Right?
Exactly. You can send us the invoice, Garry. We'll be sending some cash just for your participation. All right, Garry. So listen, just to start off, tell us quickly, just in like 2 minutes, who's Garry and what does Garry do for a living?
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, I suppose the version that most people like to refer to is probably CEO of Ello Technologies. I think that's my official title, if that's
right.
The title. The thing is, the title's the thing. But I think, like who I am, what can I tell you? I'm 42. I've been around the block a bit. I've earned a bit of medals along the way, and I've had a couple of oops moments. But generally, I pioneer Ello Technology every day. I think I'm that coach and leader within the organization that's constantly looking at what's happening in the world, where the world is moving, what the trends are, what's happening in the world. And I think just kind of guiding my team, who I'm just so grateful for having, part of the company, part of my journey for 20 years. Building a passionate IT company. Yeah. So other than that, I enjoy gymming with you, Kev. But F45 in the morning.
Well, you've got the results to show. I'm still getting there. You can take your shirt off on the beach, and I can't yet. So
persistence, bro. Persistence, eh? Other than that, just loving family, kids. Got an amazing fiance, and loving life. But it's a balance, right?
Awesome. Love it, Garry. So for those who know you, Garry, how would they describe you in 3 words?
In 3 words,
yeah.
Energetic, persistent, and kind.
Love that. And I see the energy, Garry. I think you're one of the most energetic people that I meet in the mornings. And sometimes I actually hope that you're going to be there because I need to be picked up. I need some of that energy in the morning. It's early in the morning, so it's good to when you're at gym to see you there and just be part of that energy that you bring. So it must be amazing to actually be in the building with you as an employee as well.
Thanks, Kev. Yeah, I'll do my best.
All right. So, Garry, tell me, how did you start off? Where did the entrepreneurial spirit come from? Like, was this something that you noticed early in life, or was it something that came up later? Did you try other things, or was it always entrepreneurship?
Kev, I must just tell you that I've just had a really amazing role model in my life growing up. My dad.
Right.
He's really, if we talk about it being an entrepreneur and being inspired by entrepreneur, my dad is all in an entrepreneur.
Wow.
So I think from a very, very, very young age, he always said to me that there was, that there's opportunities all around you.
Wow.
There's a way to make bucks all around you. You just need to look for those opportunities. So I must just say, big shout out to my dad. He's been an inspiration my whole life, and also what he said, Kev, which has always stuck with me. He always said that he's got to be better than his dad, and I have to be better than him. and my
Wow.
son one day
Amazing.
will need to be better than me. So
Love that.
yeah,
Love that.
yeah.
And Gary, it's interesting. A lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of their success is based on the mentorship that they've got in their lives. So I'd like to come back to that point later on. So did you guys study after school or start working after school? Straight after school?
Man, I think being an entrepreneur is just something that over all these years, I remember as a lighty, hustling to make bucks somehow, to make extra money to buy whatever I
Right.
wanted to buy, So I think being an entrepreneur is something that I've been learning on the way.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. I did school like everyone else did school. I also studied after school. I really just have a great passion for IT, for
Yeah.
technology. I just have a way to see things and know how to all put it together and enable it. So it's definitely been a passion of mine. So yeah, I've definitely been studying a lot with regards to the tech, and just also in general, every day, how can I improve on myself, or how can I improve on what I know? And I think, yeah, as I said, it's not just something that you go to school and then you kind of learn to be an entrepreneur. Boom, there we go. Here's a book for you. You learn these
Absolutely.
200 pages and you'll be an entrepreneur. I don't think so. I think
Right.
it's applying yourself and your skill and growing who you are over all these years. Yeah.
Yeah. Gary, it's interesting, and that's part of the reason I started Take a Seat, was the whole background around entrepreneurship. Can you study to be an entrepreneur? And what we found, the research shows that we can't teach anyone to be an entrepreneur. You're either born an entrepreneur or you're not. We can teach you some of the thinking, but you can't teach someone the gifting that you need for entrepreneurship. So what we try and do is search out people like you who've actually done it and try and work with those people to get an understanding of what it took to get here, specifically for people who are gifted in this area. So what this show is about is for people to learn from someone like you what it's taken to get here, how you've managed to keep the business together over all these years. And so, it's interesting to hear that it's a design thing for you as well, that you grew up in knowing that this was part of who you were.
For sure. Absolutely.
All right. So, Gary, tell me, in terms of entrepreneurship, what it's been 20 years now. At this moment, what motivates you to get up in the morning? Why still get up after 20 years?
Yeah, that's a good point. And I think that you need to really have a purpose, or feel that you're part of a purpose. I think that is always something that is key to why do you wake up in the morning? Because let's face facts, man. I mean, I think times can be tough. You can, every single day you can hit obstacles and you can have challenges that are in front of you, and you can kind of think, well, oh my gosh, why am I doing this? Why do I wake up in the morning? Why do I do this? I think so. I believe really, it's important first of all to enjoy what you're doing. And
Okay.
when I say enjoy what you're doing, Kevin, I think there's also a key thing around this too, because everyone talks about it. I mean, I enjoy gymming. It doesn't mean that it's going to be something that I'm going to make money out of, right? Or
Right.
I enjoy going out on my adventure bike, and I love going out into exploring. I mean, that's something my dad has also inserted into me, is this nature to explore and go out
Right.
there and find and talk to different people and connect with different people. But I think it is about ensuring that what you do every day is in line with what you're passionate about. And so that's why I said, I'm really very passionate about technology. I'm passionate about people. I love people. I love kind of getting to meet different people and finding out how they tick and what do they think about every day and why do they do what they do. So, it's definitely about being in the line of what you enjoy doing that helps you to get up in the morning and get going. And then also, as I mentioned earlier, as a purpose, like I really feel that I've got a passion to help a lot of people. And I realize that there's a lot of people that depend on me as well. It's their income, it's their bread and butter. They send their kids to school based on
What
how
you're
well
doing.
we run the business and how well we're doing and how well I'm doing. So there's definitely that
Spot on.
accountability that also
Right.
gets me going in the morning.
Got it. Gary, now you said entrepreneurship and purpose and passion. And I always say this on all the podcasts and webinars that we do around entrepreneurship. is that if your passion is not paying the bills, it's a hobby. So I think that's what you're meant with. You can go and ride bicycle all day long and be passionate about it, but if no one's paying you to do that, it's best you stop doing that, because you can't feed your kids on that. So very important to have the combination.
Yeah, then I think you should rather just be part of an NGO than what you are about being an
Exactly.
entrepreneur. I mean, just choose what you want to do, you know.
Exactly. All right, and tell me, Ello, how did you come up with that name? Is there any significance to Ello? Like, how did that all start? Or was that
Oh
after a
my
couple of
God.
beers one night and then came back with a name the next morning?
I tell you, isn't it always the situation? I think a lot of people you love to like put the strategic behind it
Yes,
and
I
come
was
up
hoping you're
with
going to say, listen,
this.
it was a
Yeah.
two-day process to get to this name.
Oh yeah, no. We did a stretch session for a week designing the name. No, that
Right.
wasn't the case. I think
Okay.
so. I mean, it was quite simple for me. You know, really, when Ello started, the vision behind Ello was really to start as an internet service provider. And I was still back in the days, and I mean, I don't want to go, well, okay, 20 years ago, where we still had dial-ups, and, you know, getting your own personal mailbox was a big thing, and internet at home was a big thing. And so, you know, I started as a service provider, and, you know, I looked at the word hello, to be honest, and I said I needed to have something that was catchy, and I needed something that someone can remember. So I figured, well, hello is such a cool thing, and if I dropped the H, it would be Ello. And if I answered the phone and said, hello, how can I help you? It means communication, it means welcome, it means whatever. And so the name kind of stuck, and it's been 20 years.
Love that. Tell me, Garry, now there's lots of technology companies out there, lots of internet companies out there. I see from your website that it's significant. So there's something significant about what you do. And you've spoken to me about this before. What would you say is your main competitive advantage? What makes you different from other companies?
I think, you know, where it's really, really critical that you support your team very well. Okay. And I want to just share this with you, right? So I know as human beings, we love communicating, we love troubleshooting, we love sorting problems out, we love day-to-day connect and that kind of stuff. But I know as human beings, there's something that we don't do too great on, and you can ask anyone, we're not great on admin, okay? So they're the same task every single day.
Right.
I mean, some are way better than what I am at that, you know, but I think there's that day in and day out type of thing. And so what we did as a company was I said, there's got to be the day-to-day stuff, the checklist stuff that's got to be automated. And so what we did as a company is we really said, okay, what is all the things that we need to create consistency? We need to ensure that we can do that. And we incorporated, being a technology company, it makes sense. We incorporated technology. And so we introduced AI, fondly known as Eva today. And what she does really is she empowers the people in the background. She's not there to take over their jobs, okay? This is not a iRobot, one of those movies where, you know, it's the end of the world and AI is taking over. Not at all. What she really does is she doesn't sleep. She runs 24/7, 365. You know, she doesn't take leave. She doesn't become sick. And she just sits there the whole time, and she just helps my team be the better version of themselves, be the most productive they can be. And all the mundane stuff gets passed on to her, and she does all of those kind of things. So it's a really complementary thing. But also, Kev, why that is such a good and why that's such a winner in the market at the moment is I can keep costs low because I don't need to appoint a whole lot of people to do those things every single day. It gets done by AI, and that makes us affordable. But it also makes us extremely effective because, as you can imagine, in today's market, especially with all the security going on and vulnerabilities and IT exposures and scams and whatnot, you need to really be on it, right? And so making sure that your IT is secure, making sure that your systems are operational and they're reliable and sustainable, everybody wants to do that. And you know what I really want, my dream is, and Ello's dream is, we want our clients to be able to just work whenever, seamlessly, no hassles.
Wow.
And that's our driving force. And you'll see that with everything that we do in Ello, we always give guarantees. All of our stuff is rock solid solutions. You can depend on it. It works. It's not just a product, it's a solution, you know? So,
love that,
yeah, I mean, But also, I'll tell you what, Kevin, is staying innovative as well. Just put that point too. I mean, staying ahead of our competitors isn't just about this. It's about being innovative. It's about always forward thinking. It's about connecting with our clients and listening. What do you need? What do you want? I think it's so important. And I think over 20 years, I've learned my lessons a couple of times where I haven't necessarily listened as well. I assumed, and it didn't work out. So I think, and it's actually, in fact, it's one of the things I do. I've got a list in front of me here where it's what are your 4 business wins in a day. And 2 of them, one of them is phoning one of my clients, any one of my clients, and just checking in with them and saying how's things going and listening. Right.
Love that.
And the second item over here is phoning one of my we call them Elothians. We're a family. We call them Elothians. So phoning one of my colleagues, my Elothians, and saying how's it, and checking in and listening. What do they need? So yeah, I think those are definitely the edges.
There's so much value there, and I want to come back to each of those points. So, but I just want to just reverse a bit, Garry. Tell me, who is your perfect customer? Like someone listening now, how would they know that they can use your services?
So generally, organizations that have staff of roughly about 50 to 150 users. Generally, corporates. We're talking about guys, that are in manufacturing or in professional services, medical. In fact, many of the verticals. But the perfect client is the one that values the uptime, right? They value the fact that they can be online and they can work. They are the guys that normally have big deadlines that need to be always achieved, or they need to be live, or they've got customers that need service delivery now. They can't afford to be offline. They can't afford to, oh, well, it's fine, one of my machines isn't running. These are the kind of clients that, when they're offline, it costs serious amounts of money, whether that be in services they couldn't deliver to the customer, whether it be in stuff they couldn't bill, whether it be that their systems are offline and they can't service customers. Yeah, so generally multi-branch right through South Africa, normally 50 users to 150 users is generally our target market.
All right, and I see here under your services, you've got user and device management, which makes sense. So, you're managing all the users and their devices. Then we've got network, Wi-Fi, internet management, and then business apps and server management. So really, this could be any business with 5 employees up to 500. It would be a perfect customer. Am I right?
Well, look, I mean, generally, I find that our suite and our offering that we have, and our cost-wise, works really nicely in the 50-seater to 150-seater space. Yes, but when it comes to user and device management, at the end of the day, we all start there. So it's the trifecta. So it is your user, you are Bob, you need to ensure that your IT is running, your devices are working. And so, that's something we would focus on there. And then naturally, they've got to connect somehow. So Wi-Fi or internet or whatever. And that connectivity is critical today. I mean, we couldn't be doing what we're doing now if we didn't have devices and we didn't have connectivity and we didn't have an app, which we're logged into right now, which is really doing all of this for us, right? Providing this platform. Yeah, so managing the trifecta is critical to any corporate, and we focus on just these 3. This is our hedgehog.
Got it. Garry, now let me take you back 20 years ago when you started. How did you actually start? Was there lots of money? Was there R1 million in the bank when you started? How did it all happen? Talk about funding and starting out with nothing. If that was the case, or starting out with lots, how did it happen for you?
Yeah, I mean, sure, Kev, that's a great point. I think all of us wish we could have started off with a lot more money. But the truth is, would we have really spent it wisely? Because I think a lot of what we do every day is make mistakes and learn by them. I wasn't necessarily fortunate to be given a starting package, and by the way, here's R1 million. You look like a great guy. Go and start a business. So, I mean, fortunately, I have a technical background. As I mentioned earlier, I have a passion for IT. So I studied to be an engineer, to be an IT engineer. So, I have that technical background. I already was working on computers and networks and as I mentioned earlier, back in the start of the internet days. So, I was already helping customers. I was fortunate. I was working for a technology company at the time, and they specialized in hardware only, and they were a distributor for hardware, the computer hardware. And I was working for them for a while, and then I started to see more and more that there was a gap of how to enable this. Right? It's all good supplying the equipment, but how do you enable that, and how do you get it all to work together in a corporate environment, and how do you get everyone connected to each other and operating as a team? And I saw that I was able to do a lot more of this. And so, what honestly happened was I had a handshake with my two bosses at the time, who I respected enormously, both of them. And I said to them, guys, I think it's time for me to go on my own, right? So
Okay.
here I was in debt. I had a vehicle that I'd recently purchased that I had to pay. I was staying in a cottage at the back of a house, and
Nothing that motivates you like a car payment, eh?
and all of a sudden you've got to like pay for petrol now, and you're not getting a salary at the end of the month. There's no salary. So how are you going to eat? And so, Kev, it was rocky in the beginning. Okay. I'll tell you that. Right. And I like you said, I was motivated. So I said, okay, well, what am I going to do? And I literally walked from door to door to door, knocking.
There we go.
And saying, hi, I'm the computer guy. Do you need me? Do you need anything? And it was I had to do what I had to do. So if I needed to go buy printer cartridges, I went and bought printer cartridges and go and drop them off and charge them a little fee to do the job. And it's what I had to do, fix computers. Yeah. So that was the start of Ello. Okay. And I think it was
great. That's what's beautiful about it, Garry, to come from there, where you, as you said, you started with nothing. A lot of people think that entrepreneurs start with a lot of money, a lot of funding, and then it suddenly just works. And it's the humble beginnings that really builds your character, and that's what you need 20 years later.
Sure, definitely. I think it's being able to know where you come from and have that persistence from the get-go that really molded who I was today. And many entrepreneurs in the world have come from nothing. I mean, many have come from nothing. So all of that had to come from that starting point of, I need to do this. I know I want to do this. And I'm going to do this. And it's a big step. A lot of people don't take those steps, Kevin. They don't.
Yep.
And
it's the Garry. It's the old analogy of jumping out of a plane and building the parachute on the way down. That's what most people don't want to do, and that's entrepreneurship.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Crazy, right?
And that's why I say it's a gifting. There's something you get born with. You're able to take that kind of risk. You're able to go and live in a small flat somewhere. Miss a couple of car payments, pay your salaries with your credit card. You're prepared to do things like that to get a dream working, and I don't think everyone was called for that. So it's always significant to hear these things. And when young people come to me and they say they want to start a business, I always sit them down and say, let's just talk for an hour about my first 5 years, and then you decide whether you want to do this or not. It's not the glamour that's out there on social media about starting your own business and being free. That's not the picture we're trying to portray out there around entrepreneurship. And I'm sure it wasn't that for you as well.
No, definitely, Kevin. I also wanted to say, I think a lot of people try and have, the security, but still trying to run their own thing. And, and sure, I mean, again, if it works for you, that's great. I mean, I'm not out there to judge anybody, but what I can tell you, there's quite something about being thrown out of the airplane of life. And like you said, you're going to either crash hard or you're going to make a plan on the way down, right? So, absolutely. And there's something about that just you don't have a choice but to make it work.
Right.
And I think that's that persistence that entrepreneurs generally get on the beginning.
Yeah. Garry, you know what frustrates me is that every couple of years I find myself jumping out of the plane again, and like I can't stop doing that. Like you would think that at some point it stops, but it doesn't. It's the same process over, and the bigger you get, the more risk you take, and it just carries on, just repeats itself.
I tell you, I must say that's why you look at these adrenaline junkies out there, right? Jumping off of base jumping and who knows what, right? And then you think, oh my gosh, are these guys crazy? Why do they continue to do that? And then you look at yourself as an entrepreneur and you go, but you're just doing exactly
That's
the
what
same
you're doing.
thing. Because exactly. I mean, I've done it. I've jumped out of many airplanes of different businesses, and I can tell you right now that they haven't been successful. They weren't,
Right. Yep.
But some have been extremely successful.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And so I think it's bravery. You've got to just take the jump and go for it.
Got it. So, Garry, around the bravery, obviously to live this kind of lifestyle, you need a schedule. There needs to be like a morning schedule, a daily schedule that keeps you going, keeps you motivated, and also protects your mind around what you're going through. What does a day look like, a typical day look like for Garry?
You know, it's first, I think, you know, what I've picked up over all these years, Kev, is that there is a certain recipe that works for you. And it's not necessarily everybody's cup of tea, but it works for you. For me, you know, I find that a good gym session in the morning is critical. I need that, you know, that happy juice that you get after a good training session. I really do, you know, I've got it right over here. Like my 6 personal wins for the day is generally gym, meditation, contemplation, affirmations, and then breathe. Like, take a deep breath. And I think it is so important for me to visualize, what does my day look like? What do I want my day to look like? What is my week going to look like? What is my month going to look like? It's really important to take charge of that, because I know myself, I can get very busy. I can get very involved with a lot of things.
Yep.
And the reality is, are they going to be beneficial? Are they going to drive results?
Yep.
And
is it adding to my business?
Absolutely. You know, so my day kind of starts off with the gym. Then I normally try and fit in like a 90-minute pure work session. So it's kind of focused. It's 90 minutes. It's normally on an innovative project or some sort of growth that I need to produce within Ello or within my life, of whatever that might be. So that's a dedicated 90 minutes. That 90 minutes could also be studying, Kevin. I also sometimes dedicated. I'm kind of doing my pilot's license at the moment.
Wow.
So, you know, I've been spending a lot of time studying to get my PPL. But that 90 minutes is critical. And then generally, I know that I need to complete at least one personal task in a day. Otherwise, there's not this balance that happens, because I think I can also get really, really stuck into trying to get everything done business-wise, and then not handle personal stuff as well. So I try and say, okay, I'm going to do my 4 business wins for the day. I know what those 4 are. They're short goals that I know if I achieve them, I feel better already about myself. I know I'm getting results already.
Yeah,
so,
it's those small wins.
Man, it's those small wins. So I've got like 4 small wins, business wins. I've got 4 personal wins in a day that I concentrate on. And then also I've got 3 personal goals for the week that I set up for myself. So I think it's really important that I just take note of that, you know, in the morning, especially. So I'll go do my gym session. I'll come back. I'll take note of that. I'll be like, okay, where am I on this list? Right. And then I'll be like, okay, today I need to do the following. And it's critical. It's not easy, because we kind of like to, you know, forget about those things and try and just get out of habit, like I said. But That's critical for me. And then as long as I've got those things in, at the end of the day, I take count again. So before I go to sleep, I'll take count again, and I'll go like, okay, Garry, did you achieve what you set out to achieve for today? And something, if I've missed something, I take count on that, and I go, right, tomorrow you're going to need to get this sorted out. And I think it's, so that's generally my day, you know.
Garry, so I couldn't have asked for a better segue to our ad now, because I don't know if you know, but we run a Life Accelerator course on our Take a Seat Academy, which talks about having a daily schedule and having goals like you've set up for yourself. And it's amazing what happens to entrepreneurs specifically if they start writing down their goals and they have those goals in place and they look at them on a daily basis. So I want to talk about those goals coming back again after the ad. So to give us 30 seconds, we'll be back now.
Awesome, Kevin.
Want to accelerate your life? Start by finding your purpose. Purpose has become somewhat of a cliche, but in recent years, research has shown that purpose is a tool that can be used to enjoy the abundant life. Yes, you too can become wealthy and live a meaningful life. We have developed an action-packed 6 weeks online course that takes you through 6 critical steps to start taking massive action towards your abundant life. Go to www.takeaseat.tv and click on Academy. Get ready to accelerate. Garry, so I love what you said about the end of the day schedule as well. You know, looking back over your day, looking at what you've achieved. I mean, as you say, when we speak about that on the course as well, we're trying to help people get past life happening to them and actually making life happen. And it's so evident in your life that you are making life happen. As you say, you can start getting busy with stuff because getting busy with life and actually not make any effort towards building your business.
Absolutely. You know, it's a law of attraction, right? So what are you attracting, right? And if you're not putting your mind in that focus point of what do I want to get done, then are you attracting what you want to get done, you know? So you have to take that time, 100%.
Yep. Garry, now you obviously very fond of people. You said that earlier on, and I went onto your website and I saw the team and I put them on here again. You obviously spend a lot of time with your people. So tell me, how important is hiring for you, hiring the right people, finding the right people for your team, and how has that evolved over the last couple of years?
Yeah, sure, Kevin. You know, you have to have the right. First of all, I think what I have learned over all these years is take time to work out exactly what that specific role entails, okay? Exactly what needs to happen, right? But don't put a person or a personality in there, right? Start off by literally jotting it down to the T. This is what the expectations are. This is what needs to happen. This is when it needs to happen. This is what I need to achieve. This is the turnaround times it needs to be achieved by.
So like a proper job design for the position. No name attached to it, just the design.
That's it. A design, all right? It's not a title. It's a design, okay? And then to look at it and go, okay, right, this is what we need within the company. This is specifically what we need. And then what to do after that is to then say, okay, right, what type of personality is going to best suit this type of design, right? And it's important because, I mean, I'm sure, as you know, when you look at, if you look at the different profiling that can happen, you look at the people's capabilities, their personalities. Some people have attention to detail. Some people are more, sales orientated, intuitive. So it's depending entirely on who or personality wise. So why am I sharing this with you? Because when you try and take a specific design and make it fit to a person, you have a person that's really unhappy because they're doing what they are not built to do. What God did, God gifted them with some personalities, and it's so important that they do what they are gifted to do. They flourish. So, you know, what I have definitely seen over the years is find the right person, find the right design, and connect these two up
Marry
together.
those two. Yep.
And then when you do that and you give them freedom, you'll be amazed at what results that you can see.
Right. Garry, and that's just such a positive note, because I mean, part of what we speak about is finding your design for employees as well as entrepreneurs. You know, people come onto our course thinking that they're entrepreneurs, and then suddenly halfway through the course they realize, I'm not an entrepreneur. I should be working for a company. And
Sure.
I'm all for trying to build great employees as well as great entrepreneurs. I don't feel there's any lesser job in the world. If you are in your purpose and using your gifts and talents in a business, you can become wealthy as well inside someone else's business. So it's great to hear you speak about that in business. It's rare that business owners actually spend the time to find the purpose of their employees.
Yeah, listen, it's critical. I've just seen that over 20 years. I've knocked my head a couple of times, you know. Yes, listen, I mean, someone can walk in through the door and they can have this amazing personality, and you can feel the energy, and you can be like, oh my gosh, this guy or this lady is just dynamic, man. You know, I want this person part of my team.
Yep.
But if you don't put them in the right space, then it actually becomes detrimental to you, because it actually becomes a negative experience over time.
Yes.
So yeah, it's really, really important. You know, can I just say something with you, Kevin? Though I must also admit, I think that I've also seen over the years, not everybody also knows themselves. You know, and this is something that I'm constantly seeing, is not everyone knows who they are.
Okay.
And so this is also a challenge, and I do know that with good psychometric testing, we use a combination of toolkits, and it's really good because it unpacks what this person's thinking, where this person is in their life, what their ambitions are, what their focuses are, what energies they are they introverted, extroverted? All these things are so important. So we match them up with the job design.
Right.
And because we've been doing that, and because we've now been inspiring our team to work towards a scorecard where they have points allocated to what they need to do, and they're doing it by design, which should fit in with who they are, they're excelling at achieving those points, but they also know where they're focused towards, right?
Excellent.
And I think for me, you know, Kevin, what is important that I realized is that everybody wants to know what is expected of me. Everybody wants to know, how am I doing, right?
Yes.
And the third thing that's important is, what does my future hold?
Right.
So, you know, so we've very recently deployed a program within our organization over the last 2 years, as we've been changing our HR and that kind of thing, to implement these things we've learned that have worked really well over the last 20 years, and make sure we don't make the mistakes that we've made over the last 20 years, is putting this all together, and then allowing our people to do what they have to do. Get on, get going with it.
Excellent, Garry. That's beautiful. Garry, just tell me about, have you ever seen people, and if we talk about character, because obviously that is a game changer as well. You can put someone in the right position, you could have the right personality, design is fine. But talk to me about character. How important is character of the employee, and what is your process of finding character in your recruitment process?
Sure, Kevin. You know what, I've always said that we are our own best sales people, right? We sell ourselves, number one. Everyone's like, oh, I'm not into sales. You are in sales.
Absolutely.
Every day you're in sales, right? So, I mean, we can do, character is critical. Like, I think, I can tell you now that I would take over character to over skill any day, because skill can be taught, right? But a character is something that you molded, and you were molded over years, right?
Right.
And so, you know, you've got to be really careful that you don't appoint the wrong character to join the company. They can tick all the boxes with the tests. They can tick all the boxes with the the design, the position design. But if there is a character flaw, if there is something going on where they are not being honest and they're not being truthful and they're not really, they're not invested. I think that's the word. They're not invested in what the company does and what they need to do. It can cause such severe issues. The consequences are severe in an organization because it affects everyone around that character. Man.
You need one person to break that culture.
Yeah. So and Kev, so what I've picked up, the trick is to be very quick. All right. So if you do your due diligence, you've put together a scorecard which measures performance, and you are constantly monitoring this individual. If you're finding that the character is not suitable, the person isn't performing right, it's better to have a conversation with them early on and just have hey mate, listen, I don't think this is going to work. Right. And I'm rather having those conversations early. Yes. Because to be honest, it's better to rather set that person free and let them go and do something that they can be amazing at, then try and hold them on and both of you are unhappy and things aren't working. So I think the trick is, and I know that it's not always easy with the legal side in South Africa, and I think that's always a obstacle that we have to work ourselves around that. But I have just found that if you're open and honest, if you are having a straight conversation and let that person move on as quick as possible within your organization. Don't let them cause detriment and harm.
Disharmony in your business.
Exactly. You've hit it on the spot. It's about harmony, right? An organization operates only well and effectively, long-term, efficiently by harmony.
Absolutely.
Everyone has to work together. Everyone has to work well together. And that harmony is critical to success in any organization.
Yeah. Garry, so we teach young entrepreneurs hire slow and fire fast. And I think that's what you're talking about. Spend the time, find the right person, make sure it's right. And when you pull the trigger and something goes wrong afterwards, then get it out as quickly as possible. There's no time to waste around that.
The thing is, Kevin, the hardest part of my job is having that discussion. And everyone tries to avoid that, Kevin. Everyone tries to work around that. I'll tell you what, it has the worst thing you possibly can do. You have to have that direct conversation from the get-go. And as a leader, your people expect you to be direct with them. Right. That what I call it kind candor. Have a direct chat. You don't
avoiding
have to
all the difficult conversations.
Exactly. But you need to have those conversations, and you are spot on. Like, take your time to hire the right person, as I said earlier. But then when they are the wrong person, they've got to move quick.
Got it. Garry, and that must be difficult because you just earlier on you said you like people, you like spending time with people, you love people, you even used the word love. And how did you actually teach yourself to do that? Because obviously at some point you have to have that tough conversation. And sometimes you have to be, you have to say quite harsh things to people. How did you learn to do that from early on in your life? Especially as a young person, how did you actually do that?
It's really tough. I mean, sometimes it can be really an ethical thing for you where, an individual has really rubbed you up the wrong way. And, they're accusing you of ethical issues, which isn't the truths. And, they hiding. And so I tell you, it can be emotional, right? And in the beginning, in my younger days, for me, it was a more passionate conversation. It could have even possibly have been quite heated.
Right.
But I know that I'm not proud of those things because one shouldn't get yourself into that emotional state. So that's definitely been conditioning, Kevin, is that over all these years, it is you have to take mental note of that, and you need to say, well, hold on, is this personal? or is this business?
Right.
And I know that a lot of people like business and personal. Personal is business. Business is personal because you are one person. Last time I checked, So I think it's just important to put the facts down, keep calm, keep calm about the situation, and just be honest. Just be open and honest. Just, and have that direct conversation with that individual. But I'll also say this as well, Kevin, it really does help to have good people around you, to have professionals around you. And I want to say this to you as well, being an entrepreneur doesn't mean I'm solo and I'm on my own, right? It doesn't mean just because I'm an entrepreneur, I must make every single decision, I must have every single conversation, I must do. That's not the truth, right? About being an entrepreneur and about understanding who you are is knowing what you're strong at, and there's areas that you're just not great at, right? So getting people around you that are great at what you're not great at makes you an extremely strong team, right? So I will tell you this, there are situations where I don't get involved. I have Etienne who helps me with these kind of areas. And Etienne is just really good. It's what he does. Okay, he's a psychologist, and he's proficient at this kind of stuff. He handles our HR side of the business, and it's just been a real blessing for me to have him part of the team. I must tell you. So
and again, you're talking about design. That's Etienne's design and not yours. Exactly. And for you to be humble enough to admit that it was what makes you a great entrepreneur.
Exactly. Yeah. Look, I mean, I have over the years learned to have these direct conversations, and I've made mistakes. I mean, some of the conversations have not gone well at all, and then I've learned by it as well. I think that's also important, Kevin. You're going to make mistakes, right? So just make the mistakes. But if you can try and get
make them quickly,
advice,
make lots of them and quickly.
And get professional advice in the process. Like ask a lot of people, what would they do in a situation? Phone them, ask them, get prepared, understand what you need to do, and then have the facts on the table and have those direct conversations. But I've also learned, and I've been like I said, blessed with Etienne, is that that's what he does. That's his design, right? So it's good to have that person part of your team and allowing me to continue to inspire, continue to build the business, continue to push forward, and having Etienne on the team on the side of me, making sure that we have got the right people in the right design. And if they're not doing what they should be doing, then he's very quick at being able to help them move on. Right.
Love that.
So,
Garry, we always talk about putting people on your bus and then finding the right seat. So how many times has it happened that you actually just had to move someone from one seat to another and suddenly they perform? Have you seen that happen in your business?
Well, sometimes I've moved from one bus to another bus.
Okay. All right.
Well, it feels like it sometimes, right?
Okay.
No, I have tried that a few times, Kevin, and I must say that you've got to be so careful when you do that as well, because people are really sensitive about what other people think of them or see. As you know, social media, the reason why social media does so well is because everyone wants to get a I like you, thumbs up, on their comments and stuff like that. So I think we are very, people don't want to be judged, or they feel that they don't want to be judged. So what I've always felt, right, was try and get the right person in the right seat from the get-go, right?
Good.
And if that person is the wrong person in that seat, then absolutely. Look, I mean, it's very rare that you can possibly move someone into another seat if that person sees it as being a promotion and everyone around sees it as being a promotion, then it's possible. But again, why did you appoint them in the wrong seat to start off with? So I think, you need to be very careful to appoint rather the right person from the get-go.
Like that. Garry, now in terms of entrepreneurship, what would you say are the 5 skills that you needed to be an entrepreneur? In terms of skills, we know there's gifting. What skills, 5 skills would you name, even if it's just 3, that you think is critical to where you are right now?
Sorry, Kev. I think definitely, look, one thing is that you definitely need to continually to grow on being an entrepreneur, being a leader. I think it's so important to continually to study and to grow as an individual. I definitely say those are important. I also think that it's important to have the right mindset. Okay, something that we don't realize, but if we continually working, we're going to get to a point where we're going to have mental fatigue, where we're going to have decision fatigue. So I think it's also important to understand who you are as a person and making sure that your mental stability is in place. All right. So I definitely say that those are important.
All right. So that's two. So we'll go with two. We'll keep that. They were good. They were two great ones. So we'll
I'm trying to
leave
think,
you with two.
3, 4.
Gary, so in terms of balancing, you spoke about balancing work and life. I know it's been 20 years, so obviously it's been taken a long time to find that balance. How do you actually do that? How do you keep your personal life going while also doing business?
Yeah, that work-life balance is something that I'm continually having to reevaluate, Kevin, and relook at all the time. It's a difficult one, you know. I'm not going to say to you that it's easy. I think, you know, you need to first of all know who you are as a person, but I think it's important to then ensure that you know what works really well for you. And to then maintain that. So I definitely would say persistence is important in that balance. I would also say to you that reevaluating things, taking breaks, reevaluating things, re-looking at what's important to you as well, and adjusting yourself towards that. I do believe that it is possible to have everything that you want to have, right? It really is. I think you just need to know what it is that's important.
Right.
And it's different for everyone, right? And then accept that as well. I think acceptance is also important, Kevin. Accepting this is who I am, this is what I want, this is what I'm able to achieve. I think we always look at other people and we go, oh my gosh, I wish I was more like that person, or I wish I was more like this person, but we're not. We are who we are. You know, and God created us a certain way, and He's given us given us who we are and the blessings that we have. So yeah, I think just accepting it and being persistent at it and evaluating it constantly as you go along in life.
Yep. Yeah. Garry, so all entrepreneurs are people that work hard at their dreams and their mission in life. And I want to talk to you about, just ask you what you think of this concept. So there's destiny, and then there's the control of your fate. So where you're going to be ending your life and how are you going to be ending. How much control do you think we have? Do you think it's more destiny, or do you think there's a lot of control over how we end?
So, sure, I think it's a combination of both. I think it's a combination of both. To be really honest, I think you're definitely created by design of who you are, right? I think that you have there's certain DNA properties within you that are who you are. I mean, Kevin, you are X tall. You have these color eyes. You speak a certain way. So I don't, that's kind of out of your control. So I think a lot of that is just like who you are DNA wise, your anxiety levels, who you are, your personality. But I hope
my body is not DNA. I hope I can still change that.
I think your DNA.
Like you were talking about wanting to be like someone else. Like I want just half the body you have, then I'll be happy with my gym process.
Listen, I don't know what's happening in the medical field these days, but there could be DNA splicing and cloning, and I don't know what's going on.
So let me know if you want to sell some of that DNA. I think you have a natural DNA for being athletic, so I'd like to buy some of that. It's taken me too long now.
Listen, I don't think so. I think it is what you put it into, right? But yeah, you are right, and it's DNA. But I think I wanted to just say as well, destiny. Destiny is your choice, right? I very much believe that. I very much believe destiny is everything that you are doing every single day, every decision you're making, every action that you're doing is your destiny, right? So,
Okay.
I would definitely say that at the end of the day, some of the things you are just born with, characterized, and your personality and so on, right? But
Got it.
you have an option every day to choose where you're going and what you want to do, right?
Yeah.
And there's repercussions to everything, Kevin. There is, right? I mean, at the end of the day, I could be this most brilliant businessman, entrepreneur, making X amount of money, right? But then have no family,
Right.
right?
Yep.
So that's what I'm trying to say. Like it's also depending. It's funny how things are, Kevin, because an entrepreneur often is judged about how much money they have, right? To how good they are, right? But that's not necessarily the thing. Entrepreneur is understanding what's needed out there and seeing opportunities, but also making a call of which opportunities they take and which ones they don't take, right?
Yes.
Where
And
do
what the
they
impact's going to be
prioritize
on
them?
their lives.
It's all depend on their lives. I mean, at the end of the
Mm.
day, it depends on what they want, right? Do they want this type of lifestyle? And then accepting that. So that's definitely, I think destiny is definitely in your control. Yeah.
Okay. Garry, so it was great. It's been great the last 50 minutes. We've got a couple of minutes left. I want to ask you one last question. It's going to make you think, but I think you've got some great answers for this too. If you had a magic stick to change 3 things in the world right now, what would it be?
Wow. If
It
I
can't be your
could,
kids. It can't be your kids or your fiance. It has to be something else, Garry.
you know what? Hey, like if I really could change things in the world right now, I probably would say, I would say to you that just I would be more love, right? There would be definitely more love. I think the biggest thing that we see at the moment is just so much fear and anxiety and negativity and whatever going all over the place. I think if we just all shared a little bit more love towards each other and we're a bit more kinder with each other and we didn't try and just take advantage of everything or manipulate people, if we would just kind of just give more love, I think this world would definitely be a better place. That would be one of the things that I would probably try and change more of, is being loving, right? The other thing is, I really wish we didn't have to worry about this money story. If we could eliminate money out of the picture and, we could all just do what we love doing and produce it out of love and create and help each other, I think, I think the world might be a better place.
Okay.
Don't know if it's realistic,
Right.
but and I
Well, it's a
guess
magic
that's
stick,
also
so it
part
doesn't
of
have
it.
to be realistic.
No. And then another thing as well, I'd definitely say to you that, I think that we could just definitely look after our world a bit better. Like,
Okay.
honestly, as human beings, why can't we just look after this world better? Why can we not just look after nature, animals, but also each other better? So
Right.
if I was able to have a magic wand and boom, and I could put this on everybody and everyone in the world could just start being a better person, man, I tell you what, this world would be great, wouldn't it?
It'll be Garry for president.
Please no. Please no.
Garry, listen, it's been awesome to chat with you. Thank you very much for your time. We've got a minute left. It's been great. We're going to post this online. Obviously, you're going to be able to share it with your people as well. Thanks for what you've done with your business. I think a lot of people are well impacted by your business, and businesses are doing better because of your products. And I hope that
Thank
a
you.
lot of people that are watching this will contact you and try out some of those services. And well done for what you've done over the last 20 years. It takes a lot of bravery, as we discussed, to get to this point and going through a lot of pain. And I appreciate that as a fellow entrepreneur to speak to someone like that.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you for the opportunity today to chat with you. It's really been awesome. You're an awesome entrepreneur as well. So yeah, it's been great
Thank
to
you.
have this chat with you from one legend to another. Yeah, thanks, Kev.
Awesome. All right, Garry, you must have a great day, and we'll chat soon again.
All right, Kev. Keep well, eh? Cheers, man.
Yes.
Bye.